Alright, Lancer, there's a non-zero chance that you're trying to play literally any system that isn't Pathfinder or 5th edition, and you really love mechs. However, I know it's difficult to switch systems after being conditioned to think the way these games want you to think. Don't worry, I'm here to help translate and show you the differences so you can transfer your experience to this new combat system. I will be tackling this from the perspective of a 5e player, since that's the system I had the most experience in when I was trying to learn this system in the first place. If you haven't watched my character creation crash course, I highly recommend you watch that video first, because I go in depth into how the dice and stats work. This is going to be a quick little Rosetta Stone to get you guys started. This is going to be very stripped down to help cut out unnecessary information for new license level 0 players, so you guys can just dive right in. Part 1. Initiative. The initiative is very simple in Lancer. Players always go first in combat, and the initiative alternates between player GM, player back and forth, with the players deciding who in their party goes next in the turn order. It's quick, it's easy, and it's direct. It's such a good form of initiative that there are entire plugins for Foundry and Forge to use it in other tabletop role-playing games. That's it! Next up, Part 2. Actions. In D&D, you normally get one movement, one action, one bonus action, one reaction, with free actions covering everything else. In Lancer, you get one movement, a choice between either one full action or two quick actions, one reaction, and once per turn, you can overcharge to gain an additional quick action at the cost of 1 heat the first time you use it, 1d3 heat the second time you use it, and 1d6 heat every time after that. What's heat? It's how hot your mech's reactor can get before it explodes. We'll get into that later in the video. As you can see, the Lancer action economy is a little bit different. A full action is anything that will require your full attention in the turn, like focus bombardment or locking in for a complicated hack. While quick actions are anything that doesn't require your full attention, like a quick attack or dashing to get more distance on the battlefield. There are specific actions for attacking and hacking. We'll get into all of that later on. It is very important to note that the same action cannot be taken more than once per turn, so you can't boost twice or skirmish twice unless you overcharge to use any quick action as a free action. It is important to note that any protocols you want to activate must be activated before you move or take any actions. What's a protocol? Think of them like spells in a way, or a barbarian's rage, but sci-fi and in a giant robot. They often have cool, helpful effects. If you don't know what to do on your turn, or you want to preempt the enemy, you can use a quick action to prepare a quick action to trigger when a certain condition is met. A good example is waiting for the enemy to poke their head out from cover so you can use skirmish on them. If you don't know what skirmish is, don't worry, we're going to get into that in just a bit. Part 3. Movement. So, just like in D&D, you move a number of spaces equal to your speed stat. Unlike D&D, the distance is measured in abstract spaces rather than feet. In the book, however, they describe a space as being roughly 10 feet. You'll also notice the difference between 30 feet of movement in D&D versus 4 spaces of standard movement for a license level 0 Everest frame. Lancer likes to keep its numbers relatively small to make the math much easier. In actuality, you get 40 feet of movement for your giant stompy robot, and you just move in increments of 10 feet per space. This may seem slow for a giant robot, but this is to help sell the weight of your mech, and you still get to dash or boost, as it's called in Lancer, as a quick action to effectively move your full speed again, and even some abilities can only be used when you boost as well. And remember, you still have another quick action, so you won't be sacrificing an attack just to get more movement. Difficult terrain halves your speed, but it's a lot easier to treat every space of difficulty terrain as needing 2 speed to move into it instead of 1. Same with climbing. You can climb anything, it just takes 2 speed to climb every 1 space or size of height. Anything more difficult will require a skill check. There's also jumping, which again halves your speed, but allows you to jump over obstacles. When jumping, just imagine invisible spaces above your mech to represent the height. And Everest can jump 1 space high and 1 space over, or 2 spaces over if you're jumping over a gap. We'll save flying and teleportation for another video. We're just sticking to the bare bones basics for now. Part 4. Attacks. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different full actions and quick actions that it gets a little confusing for someone just wanting to learn the game. The 2 most important actions you need to focus on for now are Barrage and Skirmish for physical attacks. Barrage is a full action, and is essentially you digging your heels in the ground and firing 2 weapons of your choosing as your primary attack, including any auxiliary weapons attached to those mounts as a secondary attack. Keep in mind that auxiliary weapons don't deal bonus damage when used as a secondary attack. This is also the only attack action that allows you to fire your super heavy weapons. You can aim at different targets with each attack. Skirmish is a quick action and allows you to attack with a single weapon as your primary and any auxiliary weapon on the same mount as your secondary. Again, secondary attacks do not do bonus damage. Just a side note with secondary attacks. Most GMs allow the secondary attack to hit a separate target of your choosing. It's just more fun that way. To hit your target, you roll a d20, add your grade if you have it yet, then add any accuracy and difficulty to meet or beat your target's evasion stat. If you hit, roll the d6s listed as your weapon's damage, and any bonuses if applicable. Your target then subtracts their armor from the overall damage, then they apply any resistances, relevant systems, talents, or reactions and subtracts them from the overall total and then removes that from their HP. If your weapon has armor piercing, then that ignores armor altogether. If your weapon has burn, your target takes however much damage that is inflicted on them from that initial attack again at the start of their next turn, at least until they make an engineering check to clear the flames. Burn stacks, so if you focus fire, you can melt just about anything in your path. Burn is scary. Avoid getting burned if possible. I highly recommend reading up on the quick actions and full actions in the book, pages 69 through 72. I'll also put a link for a 4-page quick reference guide that you can print out that covers just about everything you can do in combat. If you want to do an attack outside of just shooting things, you can do an improvised attack. So if you want to hit someone with a big rock or the butt of your gun or anything like that, it's 1d6 kinetic damage on a hit, unless stated otherwise by the GM. Part 5. Threat and range. Okay, one thing that threw me for a loop when I was learning was just, what the hell is threat? In short, threat is your effective maximum melee range, and also the range your weapon can attack in when you have an attack of opportunity, which is called Overwatch in Lancer. Like Attack of Opportunities in D&D, Overwatch is a reaction. All weapons have a default threat range of 1 unless stated otherwise. The other ranges are Line, Cone, Blast, and Burst. Lines are the easiest. It's literally just drawing a straight line between you and your target. Cones work like it does in D&D. Again, self-explanatory. You draw a straight line equal to your range, and at the end of that line, the end of the cone is equally wide to your range. You know, I'll just put a visual aid, just because it's way easier just to show you rather than tell you. Blast is like if you fire an artillery strike or throw a grenade. Blast typically has 2 values. The blast itself is the radius around the point of impact, and the range is how far you can actually throw or fire the explosive. Burst is a pulse that shoots out from around you from all sides. Pretty easy. Part 6. Taking damage and heat. So, you know how to hit things, now you need to know how to get hit by things. So, the 2 main stats you want to look at are your evasion stat and your E-defense stat. Think of this as your armor class from 5e. Evasion is the number your enemy has to meet or beat to do physical damage to you, while E-defense is the number they have to meet or beat to successfully hack your systems. Again, if they hit, they will roll damage. Once you know how much damage they'll be dealing, you can subtract your armor from the value, then apply any resistances, systems, talents, really anything to help reduce the damage further. After you did all that, just subtract the end result from your health. If your health goes down to 0, you take away 1 structure and go back to full health. This is called taking structure damage in the rules. That's right, you have multiple health bars. Let that sink in. You're the boss fight here. Every time you take structure damage, you have to roll on this table right here. No pressure, unless, something really very bad happens. We'll get into E-defense during the hacking section later. Some attacks and hacks will inflict heat on you. Heat is how much a reactor can take before your system melts down. You also have stress, which works identically to your structure, but for heat. Your mech's heat can fill up 4 times before your reactor decides to pack it in and turn your current habitable space into a crater. Each time you take stress damage, you have to roll a d6 on the stress table. Don't roll a 1. If you roll 2 separate 1s on the table, you will explode in a nuclear fireball. On the topic of heat, when your heat is half full, you're in the danger zone! Yes, that's what it's actually called. Some abilities can only be activated when you're in the danger zone. Notice how I said heat and not stress. Your heat has to be half full, not your stress. Remember that. Something danger zone. Part 7, repairing. Okay, so now you know how to get hit, let's talk about getting your health back. In D&D, you normally get your health back by either taking a long or short rest, drinking a potion, or having a cleric heal you. It kind of works the same way in Lancer with some changes. In Lancer, you have a repair cap. This is how many times you can fix your mech up during a rest before you have to go back to base or a full repair. A rest in Lancer is at least 1 hour of uninterrupted downtime or light activity. During a rest, you can clear all heat, clear any statuses and conditions affecting your mech, restore half your pilot's HP, and clear the down and out status effect. You can, more importantly, spend repairs to fix up your battle-scarred mech. If your mounts have multiple weapons, you need to repair those weapons individually. You can still operate the mount even if one of the other weapons is broken. Different repairs have different costs. One repair restores full HP, or repair a destroyed weapon or system. 2 repairs restores 1 structure, or 1 stress. 4 repairs repairs a destroyed mech. Teammates can assist with repairs by spending their own repairs to help you out. Full repairs require 10 hours, but it allows you to do the following. Restore all pilot HP and clear the down and out status effect. Restore a mech to full HP, stress, and structure, as long as, it's intact or the wreckage is still accessible. Clear all statuses and conditions, repair any destroyed weapons or systems, recover any core points if used, regain all repairs and uses of limited weapons, and it will also allow you to print a new mech and even equipment as long as you have access to the proper facilities and printers. Oh, and on that point, if you have access to a printer, you can rebuild a mech or print a new one out entirely. The only other ways that you mostly get repaired is later on when some mechs are spec'd to actually heal you, like for example the Lancaster with their mech snack drones. But that comes later. Part 8, hacking and tech. So in D&D, you have spells and magic. In Lancer, you have hacking and tech. Everyone has access to tech attacks, though some pilots will have specialized their mechs to do more advanced stuff and hack into the mainframe even harder. The 2 actions you need to worry about are quick tech and full tech, which are a quick action and full action respectively. Both will require you to meet or beat your target's E-defense. Same if they try to hack you as well. They will try to meet or beat your E-defense if you're on the receiving end. Quick Tech allows you to choose any effect from the Quick Tech list. Quick Tech can be used more than once in a turn, provided you have enough quick actions that you can pick a different effect each time. So you can't use lock-on 2 different mechs on the same turn, for example. The quick tech effects include bolster, scan, lock-on, and invade. Even if you're not a hacker mech, bolster, scan, and lock-on are incredibly useful. Bolster lets you give a character in sensor range +2 accuracy on their next skill check or save until the end of their next turn. I'd even say this applies to reactions, but that's just my personal ruling. It doesn't stack though, so you can't have 3 people bolster 1 mech at the same time. Scan gives the players info on the enemy mech that's within sensor range and within line of sight. There's also some moving parts, so I'll pop the entire blurb on screen for you, just for the sake of brevity. Feel free to pause and give that a read. Just know it gives your party a lot of useful information. Very useful when you're fighting against a boss mech. Lock-on lets you tag a target with the lock-on condition, so long as they're within sensor range and line of sight. Any player can consume that lock-on condition to gain +1 accuracy to their attack. Once it's consumed though, it's cleared from that mech until another one is applied. Invade is a pretty versatile effect that can be used for offense and support so long as your target is within sensor range and line of sight. In fact, a lot of offensive tech attacks will trigger when you invade a mech's systems. On a success, you deal 2 heat damage and you choose an invasion option. The one invasion option everyone has available to them is Fragment Signal, which basically lets you DDoS your target, making them impaired and slowed until the end of their next turn. We can also invade willing allies to trigger certain effects. If your ally agrees, it automatically succeeds and it doesn't count as an attack. So no heat damage is taken. The full tech action allows you to perform 2 quick tech actions or more complex tech actions if your mech is spec'd for it. You can also do the same quick tech action multiple times, making this a very useful option even if you're not spec'd for hacking. Part 9, Skill Check. There is one final full action that needs to be discussed, and in my opinion, this is the most important one of all. Skill Check. These put the role-playing back into combat, and they really do allow you to do more than what your stat block would entail. This allows you to propose an action outside of the constraints of combat. Your GM will decide if a skill check requires a full action, a quick action, or no action at all. This will also allow your GM to incorporate your pilot's triggers into the role. I cannot begin to state how important it is to keep this skill in your mind. The whole fun of a tabletop RPG is the ability to do things that would be impossible in the constraints of a video game. Get creative, get wild, get chaotic. And that's all you really need to know to dive right into combat. Now, that isn't everything. We haven't gone into reactor shenanigans, grappling, flying, teleportation, or being on the battlefield outside of your mech. We'll dive into that in my combat full dive videos, but this should hopefully get you started. Now, go out there and kick some ass, Lancer. And as always, I'll catch you around. Hey there, Lancers. Sorry this took so long for me to actually get out there. I like this video's in the making for like 6 months now, and I've had to I've redid it over and over and over again just to see if I can get it shorter and shorter and more concise. And I realized I was just basically reading out the rule book instead of actually delivering the information in the easiest way to digest it as possible. So yeah, that's why this took so long. That, and I kind of lost my job near the beginning of the year, and I've only just now started to kind of get to a more comfortable position to kind of start working on long form content again. I've kind of had to prioritize a lot of my commission work, which I'll have a link in the description below, but I'm verified on VGEN, which is a big marketplace for VTubers searching for artists and all of that. And I've just kind of been using it as my general commission website as well. It's just so convenient. And I've also got a Patreon and a Coffee, which I'm still kind of getting set up. The thing that kind of had me hung up on that was I didn't know what to do as like premium content, I decided, you know what, screw it, no paywall. It's just going to be a hub that has all of the information that I'm currently doing. I also have a Discord, which that's going to be in the link below. If you want to play some games of Lancer in a small community, or just want to like come and say hi, I'm down there as well. Like we're a very small, very autistic community of people who really love giant stompy robots. So it's not just Lancer, it's also all mecha. So come on down, and yeah, just come hang out. Oh, and yeah, I'm going to be doing some more stuff like this in the future. I'm going to be doing some more like smaller combat videos to sort of like help with like easing people in. So like some of the more complicated stuff, they're probably going to be like much shorter videos. So maybe right around the 8 to 10 minute range, which is going to be like a little bit more doable and sustainable long term. And yeah, it's mostly just going to be dealing with like anything big stompy robot and mecha. And I'm going to try to start streaming on YouTube as well, because I stream on Twitch every Sundays and Mondays, every 12 p.m. Central Standard Time or 6 p.m. British time, because I am UK based, and I mostly just convert over to Central because it's kind of easy to convert everything, at least to me, because I was from that time zone originally, so it's just easier for me. But yeah. But anyways, that's just about it. Really, just any little bit will help me out. And yeah, like always, just keep commenting, subscribing, anything to help push this past YouTube's NHP and get this out to as many people as possible. And like I do genuinely read all your comments, and I do like it does help keep me motivated to like keep going and let me know that there's like people out there that want to hear all of this. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. As always, guys, keep your giant robot stompy, and I'll catch you around. Oh, also, there's a referral link. If you're based in the United States, I have a referral link and a promo code for Neko Alley Anime. So if you want to buy any like cool anime stuff, any mecha stuff, that also helps me out as well. That's all in the description below. For real this time, I'll catch you around.